Hello guys, welcome to this webinar. Yes, I'm now live. Welcome. Let me know if you hear me well, if you see me well. Yeah, it's 12 p.m. in California, Tuesday. Sun is shining. Let me know where you're from. Oops. Okay, great. Now I know we have the sound. Cool. Yeah, welcome. Let me know where you guys from and what time is it now in your country. And yeah, this webinar is going to be about study in the USA, answering your questions about the exams you need to take, answering your questions about financial aid. Okay, cool. Brazil, Turkey, India, Uzbekistan. Hey. Yeah, so another thing I wanted to introduce during this webinar is I left a link below the video where I will be reading the questions, because last time when we were doing this, there were so many good questions because they were so long. YouTube actually scrolls everything down automatically and I just couldn't read them. So I thought maybe you could go to LinguaTrip's website where this exact webinar is also streamed. And the link is below this video. And if you have any questions, you can just use your Facebook to ask them and I will be reading them from there and answering them. So please, I will, yeah, I'm just posting another message to our chat that I will be reading your questions from the LinguaTrip's website. And please let me know if you're already there and if you could post. Oh yeah, okay, we see Portland. Perfect. So yeah, if you go to that page and if you could ask your question there, that would be great because it would get more chances of getting answered. Because as I said, like if you could see my screen right now, we have how many people? We already have 109 people watching and I have like all of these comments coming in and I just don't have time to read them because the new are coming in as well. So, and I also know this is the time when you guys are deciding to start your exam preparation or start your university search. And this is actually the best time because well, the first deadlines will happen in September, and some universities will have their first deadline in November, but it's better to be prepared as early as possible because sometimes things happen like, oh, my exam is not as good as I needed it to be, or my university has this extra deadline for financial aid. So it's better to be prepared, and if you want to start studying in the United States or Canada in September 2018, it's better to start today. So start your application process, start your preparation, and whatever you need to do. And so yeah, let me see. Okay, you're still posting all the questions on YouTube. Okay, guys, just if you could go to the LinguaTrip's website, the link is below. I will be reading the questions from there. And yeah, I'm really happy we have this cool geography and I'm happy people from India, I know it's 12:30 a.m. in the morning, they're still watching. Yeah, so, okay. I'm gonna take the first question now. And the first question is, make a video about TOEFL preparation, visa formalities. So actually, I've done a lot of videos on TOEFL preparation. Like you can see loads of them, like how to prepare if you have a week, how to prepare if you have a lot of time, my tips and tricks of passing different parts of TOEFL. And they're all on this channel. So if you go and select the TOEFL playlist, there will be loads and loads of them. I'll also be filming a couple of new ones because I wanted to emphasize the speaking part. Again, I'm talking to many students during the consultations, and many of the students say that actually the speaking part is the toughest part in TOEFL. And I know why, because it actually sounds like if you're talking to a robot and the questions they ask, you would never get asked them in their normal life, just out of the blue. Like, I don't know, what is your favorite artist? And you have like 15 seconds to come up with the answer. That's why I will be emphasizing the speaking more in my videos. But yeah, thank you for the question. And yeah, the visa formalities, actually, so, oh yeah, great. I see more questions now. Perfect. So if we talk about a visa, like I haven't seen any Harvard or Stanford students who got refused their student visa, but I've definitely seen people not getting their visas for lower ranking colleges. But again, it really depends on your situation. The goal here is to show that you're intent to study in the States or Canada, whatever you're going, is genuine, and that you're not using your studies just to come here and do whatever you want. So, and also the second thing you need to prove is that you have enough funds to sponsor, whatever, pay for your studies. How to get a full scholarship in car design schools? That's a great question, because for design schools, I haven't seen a lot of like Fulbright scholarships, because those, like if we're talking about design, architecture in terms of like designing, not engineering, and fashion design, these are the subjects that there is no like standardized testing for designers. So if you take this test, then you're definitely a good designer. If you don't take this test, then you're not. It's very subjective, like the way universities judge your performance, and you have to provide your portfolio. If you want any prizes, you have to provide them as well. So I would say it's tougher than getting a scholarship to study engineering, for example. But if like your goal is to get that scholarship, I would say try to broaden your portfolio as much as you can, like showing what you've done already. Like you're saying car design schools, maybe you've designed something already. It's the best if you won some competitions or done some work for a company that deals with car design, and definitely look at top design schools. There's I don't know for car design exactly, but there's Rhode Island School of Design. There is a Parsons School of Design in New York. So really look at the top ones, and yeah, because top ones. Oops, what's going on? Sorry for that. It's yeah, YouTube is doing something to me. Okay, so yeah, just make sure you're looking at top schools because they have more funds. How can I apply for a scholarship program? So my advice to you, if you're looking for a scholarship, make sure that, okay, I have to block somebody first. Sorry for that, guys. Just a moment. Okay, so no, it's not working. Sorry for that. So YouTube is a little weird today. So yeah, I was talking about the scholarship programs. The thing is here, universities provide scholarships for applicants, but you do not need to submit a separate application. So your goal is to select a university that actually provides financial aid for international students, because there are also universities that don't care. They just say you pay, and like when you get in, you have to pay. But some universities say we have this fund for international students, but the fund is really limited, so we're going to select top 10% of students who actually got admitted, and we're going to divide scholarships among them. So your goal is to be in those top 10. And if we're talking about merit-based scholarships, you normally don't have to submit a separate application. Normally, universities would tell you, like, you go on and submit the general application for the program, and then we would select the best candidates, and we're just going to notify you whether you got a scholarship or not. But the situation is different if you're applying for an assistantship, which is a form of financial aid when you actually work on campus. And if you do work on campus, then they might have some extra things you need to provide them with. For example, high TOEFL score, which is really important. Like, for example, if you're a teaching assistant, then your speaking score needs to be 25 out of 30. That's what I've seen for different universities. Okay, let's read the next question. I want to know if there is a 3-year bachelor's degree in physics is accepted or not for postgraduate in the USA. I suppose so. They actually don't care about the length of your bachelor's degree. So if you already have your bachelor's degree, if you have this document proving that you have your bachelor's degree, then that's it. That's all you need. But again, for postgraduate program, they care about your bachelor's degree, but they also care about your research, whether you have publications, whether you took part in the conferences, whether you have the topic for your research. Okay. Sorry, too many questions. Okay. European colleges are cheaper than US colleges. I would say yes. Oh, Europe is cheaper than US, definitely. I studied in Germany for free, and I even got a scholarship to go there. And France is free. So yeah, I would say America and Great Britain are the most expensive ones. How did you select the universities that you applied to? What was your criteria? Frank is asking. Oh, Frank is actually from the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign, one of the universities where I applied as well. Hi, Frank. Hi there. So my criteria was, so I think it's important to know my story. I was in Russia. It has been 3 years since I've graduated from a bachelor's degree. And I was starting my company, which didn't really do well. And I really, well, it did well, but we needed investment. So we're just building a LinguaTrip exactly where you are right now on the platform. And we wanted to make this company international. And we were using our own money to build it. But then we realized like we won't be able to build it with our own money because we ran out of money. So my goal was to actually get myself abroad, like the United States. And I thought if I go to the United States myself to a master's degree, then I will be in this business environment in America and I will be able to grow my company from here. So I thought if I don't have this ability to take my company abroad, I will take myself first. And then my company would follow. So I did that. And I started applying to all of the universities. But as I said, we ran out of all of our personal savings because we were building this company. And my only chance was to get a scholarship. So my goal number one in selecting, like my criteria number one was that university provided full financial assistance to international students. Goal number two, provided financial assistance for international students. And like goal number three, maybe like not be, I wanted this university to be in top 100 universities. And that's it, like really. And I also wanted to travel as fast as I could. So as quick as I could. I was in October 2014 when I started application. So I needed to move as fast as I can. And I applied during the second deadline. So also if a university didn't have a second deadline in January, I didn't apply because that was the only way for me to apply. So yeah, that was my criteria. And as I said, I selected Johns Hopkins University, where I got accepted with a full scholarship, and then University of Florida MBA program, which also gave me full financial aid, and then University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign, where I was accepted but didn't receive any financial aid. University of Scranton got accepted, University of Tampa got accepted, University of Wisconsin-Madison not accepted. But I failed an interview. I did like this terrible thing, not preparing for the interview, and I didn't know they asked subject-specific questions. I was like, oops, and that was my mistake. I did work and travel. Will that affect my chances of getting into American university? No, they don't actually care. I would say like even work and travel experience, if you don't have any other international experience, this is a question from Augustina, by the way. So having international experience is actually better because sometimes when universities look at your portfolio, and I don't know where you're from, but they just look at everything and they see everything is related to your country. And the admissions committee doesn't really know if the university you graduated from is competitive or not. Whether like this program you took in your university is competitive or not. But they, for example, they know that work and travel is real American experience and they understand American experience. So I would say work and travel would be a nice line in your resume, in your CV, the one that you will be submitting for your admissions application. In Spain, you can do a double degree. Do you have that option in the US too? Yeah, there are different master's programs that do both. Like you can do, in MIT, you can do MBA and engineering. This is called MIT LGO. So you get 2 degrees, 1 engineering degree, 1 MBA. There are definitely loads of those programs as well. When I was looking at Johns Hopkins universities, they had a lot of dual degrees like medicine and management. So yeah, how long it takes to make all the docs things until I get into university? Okay, I think the question is from like how much time do you need to prepare all of the documents from Humberto? For me, it took 2 months, 3 months, but never tried to do the same. Like 3 months is really small period of time for you to prepare all of the applications, because first you need to select 6 universities. Second, you need to take GMAT or whatever exam is required for your program. Third, you need to take TOEFL if you're an international student. Then you have to write like 12 personal statements for every single university, because every single university has like 2 questions. One is why you've chosen a program, and second can be a random question like what is the most important thing to you and why. And then you have also have to get recommendations from your professors or whoever is recommending you for the program. So I would say, like, if you want to start in September 2018, I would start today. I would start my research on universities. I would start my, checking my English level, because if your English is intermediate, then I think it's a little too early to start your GMAT or GRE preparation. Maybe concentrate more on improving your language skills. So yeah, the earlier you start, the better. Right now I have the student who is in his 9th grade, and we're helping him prepare to get into a university in America. And he starts with, taking a language course this summer in the States, and then the next summer he's going to do the same. So the longer you take, the better the results would be. Medical, there is a question about medical scholarships in the USA. Again, they're in those scholarships, they're normally either merit-based or need-based. Like either you're a really good student and they would cover your tuition, and the second thing, maybe you don't have enough funds to cover your education and they would cover it for you. But the second type, need-based scholarships, they are not really meant for international students. Some universities have them, like for example Stanford, Harvard, like top universities, they have need-based scholarships, but a lot of universities have merit-based scholarships. So there is no like particular medical scholarship. As I said, there are 2 different kinds. So your goal here is to find the program that suits you best, the medical program, and research their financial aid department and ask them what kind of financial aid they have for international students. Good question. Which university, which way is better, to start university in the States or do a postgraduate degree in the States? That's a great question, because I was like on the same path, on the same crossroad. I was thinking maybe I should do my university in the States. The problem with me was I didn't have money for that. So if you have money to do your bachelor's or bachelor's degree in the States, then go and do it, because there are so many things in our lives that change daily. And maybe in 3 years, when you're done with your bachelor's degree in your country, something will hold you back. You won't be able to travel or whatever happens, and maybe your dream will just stay a dream of coming somewhere else to get your education. So the earlier you can do that, the better. But if there is no way you can do it right now, like you don't have money and you cannot get a scholarship and your English is not too good, then do everything right now so you could make your dream come true in 2 years or 3 years. Okay. Are all colleges of US good to complete graduation that provide full financial support? I'm not really getting this question, but I guess the question is, do all universities provide full financial support? And the answer is no. And not every university provides financial support, and not every university is good for you. So in my case, I was researching around 60 universities before I came out with a list of my 6 universities where I applied. And I encourage you to do the same, like explore and research as many universities as you can. This is really important. And never, like if you have $10,000 for your education, then never apply to a university that doesn't provide full financial assistance, because otherwise you will end up with a bill from a university, and that would be it. Like, there would be nothing else you could do. Have you heard about the Fulbright program? Of course. So the Fulbright program is a program run by the United States government, and I think they have it everywhere. And the goal of this program is to sponsor talented students to pursue their master's degree in the United States. And what's great about this program is that they cover not only your tuition and accommodation, they also cover your exams. So they pay for TOEFL, GMAT, GRE, whatever. They cover your flights, they cover your visa. So everything is included. It's a very competitive program. So in order to be selected, you need to prove that you're applying to only selected universities and they selected the best ones. And then the second thing, you write the same personal statement, like you're showing that you can compete with other students who are applying for this program. Your academic performance is great. You would be able to pass TOEFL, you would be able to pass GRE. If you're selected, then yeah, you get all of the best things about education in the States. But there's just one drawback about this program. According to the laws, I'm not sure about like what's happening right now, but before, like last year, I know the rule was that once you graduate from in American universities, and if you're a Fulbright student, you need to go back to your country and stay in your country for at least 2 years. But I have my friend here, Rizwana. She has been a Fulbright scholar. She's done her Harvard MBA, and she started her company in the States. And she was able to stay here on O1 visa, extraordinary ability. So this is her story. So there's one way to kind of not go back to your country is to get an extraordinary ability visa after you graduate from your Fulbright master's or MBA. Which one do you prefer between? Which one you prefer to do first between TOEFL or GRE if I wanted to apply in 2018? I would start with the most rigorous and the most difficult exam. I would start with GRE, because once you pass GRE, your TOEFL preparation would take you like 2 weeks, and you will be actually laughing at the tasks they ask you in, they give you in TOEFL. Because when I passed my GMAT and I started TOEFL preparation, I looked at the task and I was like, is there something I'm not I cannot understand? Because they seem so easy, and that's what they are. Because TOEFL is taken even by like school children, and GRE is only taken by people who have bachelor's degree and who have some experience in research and whose English is way beyond upper intermediate. So start with the most difficult one. So there is a question from a mechanical engineer who wants to pursue masters in mechanical engineering in Germany. Yeah, I think Germany is one of the best countries for that. So I went to Dresden University of Technology, and they had so many mechanical engineers. I think this university and also University of Munich are the best. Well, I would say learn German, because even if there is education in English, but I think it's better to get it in German. Then even if you're studying English, I don't think it's a good idea to be in a country where everybody speaks German without speaking German. So make sure your German is great, because when I first came to Germany, I had some difficulties communicating with local people, and I felt a little inconvenient, like I felt a little left out. And then I took like really intensive German classes and tried to practice as much as I could. It really helped. So there's this question about like, can I get full scholarship if I have 710 GMAT, 3 GPA, 2 years of part-time work experience? My concern is your GPA is a little low, 3.0, I guess. So when you're applying for a scholarship, you have to be better than everybody else in many aspects. So your GMAT is good if you're considering like maybe starting with university number 30, going down to the university number 50. I would say your GMAT is strong. Your GPA is a little weak, and I even know some programs that do not accept applicants with lower than 3.2 GPA. Yeah, it really depends. I need to see like other parts of your application, like what kind of work experience was that, and what kind of universities you're looking to apply. So I would say, like, if you want like this personal evaluation, I also do personal consultations. I think there's a link. It should be a link below. Yeah, so if you press this green button below the video, there is a consultation with me that you can book, and I'll be able to answer your questions, like personally about you. Because when you're just giving me some small details, I don't think it's enough, and I'm afraid to actually advise something, because if my advice is wrong and I didn't know you better, then you can do some mistakes, and I will feel bad. Okay, moving on to the next question. Um, Okay, there are so many questions about like assessing personal profiles. Okay, when you will post more videos about TOEFL. I was thinking of shooting one in the next couple of weeks, but the problem right now is today and tomorrow I'm moving to a new apartment, and I have like all of these boxes in my room right now. And in a couple of days, we will also be going. Like once we finish with the moving, we're going to LA to do some work there as well. And yeah, so once I'm like landed in my new apartment, once I come back from LA, then I will shoot the video. I finished my music studies and got my professional music diploma in Spain. Which certificates you have been studying in a school of music for 10 years? Oh, okay. So the question is whether all the certificates matter for the admissions committee. I would say yes. You can list them in your resume. And also what's really important, like, because you've done music for 10 years, this is really what forms your personality right now. I would emphasize that in your motivation letter or like personal statement. Maybe discuss how you struggled first and then did better in your music career or like music part of your life. So because in my personal statements, I also told about ballet, which I've done since I was 12, and how competitive it is, and how I danced in the theater where everybody was gossiping about everyone and discussing their looks and the way they dance. And I felt really humiliated, like when people discussed me. Like once a teacher told me that my knees are too fat for ballet. Like these random things. And I also talked about that I overcame this fear of being judged, and I just enjoyed doing what I do, enjoyed ballet. And actually the dean of the University of Florida, of the graduate business school, he got back to me when they accepted me. He wrote this letter with his own hand. Like, can you imagine that, writing a letter with his own hand to everyone who's admitted? And he told me that he really enjoyed reading my personal statement about ballet, because he's a huge fan of ballet and he's been to Russia to watch ballet. So yeah, just try to make your personal statement as personal as you can. Should I wait until I finish my university in my country and go to the US? I have no money. Yeah, well, if your TOEFL, and yeah, you say your TOEFL is not a high score, I would suggest, yeah, staying in your country first and making sure that your English is growing like crazy, and that you're doing things that would qualify you for getting qualify you to get financial aid when you decide to do your master's. Could you tell about getting an associate degree in the USA? A question from Rita. Yes. So associate degree is something that you can do for 2 years, and this is actually like your first 2 years of bachelor's. So some people decide to finish after the second year, and this is what is called an associate degree. Some people decide to do 4 years, and this is what is called bachelor's degree. And it's really up to you to decide what you're going to do. But again, associate degree is not higher education, it's just some professional education. So if your goal is to stay in America or get a job that is really competitive, I would suggest doing bachelor's. But if you know what you're going to do in your life and you just need an associate degree to make sure you have enough knowledge in your field, then you can definitely do an associate degree. I've seen some people here doing an associate degree, but they are like from the States and they have work permit, they're like permanent residents, and they wouldn't have any difficulties in getting a job. So yeah, you need to decide what is your end goal. And if your end goal is to run your company and you don't need your education for that, then why spend extra 2 years on getting a bachelor's degree? What is the best university to study computer software engineering? Stanford or MIT? Can Harvard reject an applicant with nearly perfect SAT scores? Oh, yes, of course they can. They actually look at your overall performance. They look at your GPA. They look at your personal statement. They look at many other things because there are so many people who apply to Harvard with a perfect SAT. In various streams, you mentioned St. Petersburg articles in English. Yeah, so the student's asking me to share the name of magazines. Dasha, unfortunately, the magazines where I published my articles are they no longer exist. So I actually tried to retrieve a couple of my articles, and I still have the link. And if you go to Google Scholar and type in Marina Mogilko, you will see all of the articles that I've published. Not all of them, but the majority of them. And there is one or a couple in English, and unfortunately the links no longer work, which is a shame. But at least you will be able to see which magazines they were in. Okay. Next question. Can you recommend any good universities in music business major? For music, Juilliard School is the best. There's also, well, in Yale, there's a good music department. How should I improve my English if it's better than when I took TOEFL? So there are different ways to improve your English. First, I don't know, use an app. Duolingo is a good app. There is also this service that we have on LinguaTrip where you get instantly connected to a native speaker. So if you go to linguatrip.com/speak, you just press a button literally, and we connect you to a native speaker, and you can practice your spoken English with a real American or Canadian or Australian or someone from Great Britain. You can do that. We also have Skype classes with a tutor, Jonathan, who's from California. It's all on the LinguaTrip page. So if you click LinguaTrip on top of your page, you will see all of the services that we have. The best thing that worked for me is actually travel to an English-speaking country, take a 2-week language course here, and yeah, watch English-speaking YouTube bloggers. Like, do something that is really interesting to you, that will motivate you to listen to an English-speaking person or talk to an English-speaking person every day. Next year, I'm going to University of Oregon playing soccer. What do you think about it? Oh, congrats. That's amazing. Playing soccer means you will be playing in the team of this university, of the University of Oregon. I think that's great. And really, I've heard a lot of great things about Oregon. I've never been there myself. Like, it's so funny. I've been in San Francisco since 2015, back and forth, Russia, San Francisco. But like, I haven't traveled a lot around here. I haven't been to San Diego yet. I haven't been to Oregon, just LA all the time. In India, in high school, we have final percentage. Yeah, I know that your marks are in percentages. It's okay. You can just transfer it. Like, you don't even need to officially make this recalculation of your Indian GPA to American GPA. When you're applying to an American university, they would ask you, what is the maximum you can get in your system? And you would say 100%. And they would ask you, what did you get? And you will say like 78%. That's what you need. Recalculating your GPA to an American system is just for you to understand how you compare to other students, because many universities state that last year we've accepted like 100 students and their median GPA was 3.5. And you calculate your GPA and you see like you're 3.7 and you're like, yes, I'm doing great. So there is no need to worry about my GPA. Or maybe you see that your GPA is like 3.2 and you're like, oh, I'm really a little weaker than other students who applied last year. Maybe I should lower the ranking of my university so I have more chances of getting accepted. Why would you recommend American universities more than British ones? Well, American universities are the most generous ones, and if you like, they're the most expensive in the world, but also the amount of financial aid they provide is great. And I haven't seen any. Well, I haven't seen a lot of British universities providing financial aid, and the second problem with British universities, I was actually dreaming of studying in Great Britain, but the problem with Great Britain was that for Russian citizens, you cannot stay after you graduate, so you have to go back straight away. And I wanted some experience. I wanted an opportunity to stay in the country and practice and get some work experience. That's why I've chosen America. Why don't you make serious about studying in Russia? That's a great question, because I don't know anything about studying in Russia. I just know like my university, but I don't know from an international student perspective. So I can definitely answer your questions about studying in Russia. But I don't know whether it's easy to get into the Russian universities if you are an international student. I know, I guess you're judging by your last name. Maybe you're from China, and I know there are many Chinese students in Russia. Sorry if I'm wrong, if you're not. I'm just because when I was studying in St. Petersburg State, we had a lot of Chinese students, and the funny thing was they didn't really speak Russian. Anyway, they attended all of the lectures and made some notes. What are the options procedures to get into a Russian intensive course? So if you go on LinguaTrip, exactly where you are right now, and choose Russian in Russia, then you will see the schools that you can book through our platform to learn Russian in Russia. And we're actually expanding our portfolio right now for Russian schools. And if you have any questions, you can just write them down in the chat, which is in the right-hand side of the screen. But only questions like related to studying abroad, like taking language courses, because those are our managers and they don't know anything about like higher education, because I'm more about getting into American universities in Canada. And if you have any questions about studying languages, then there is also this chat in the right-hand side. Okay, next question. I wanted to know about online MBA. Many universities tend to offer it without any prerequisites. Is it good? Online MBA, well, for me, like, I don't really like online education, to be honest. And the problem with the online education is that there are so many things that you already can get online and for free. Like if you go to Coursera, there are so many courses from top universities that are published there. And if you need that knowledge, you can just Google things. Education is more about connecting with your fellow students, connecting with professors, traveling to a new country, learning about new environment, and getting this life experience, not just staring at your computer and never seeing your professor in real life and never connecting with the students. Especially MBA. MBA is the program where you like grow your network. Network is really important for future managers. And learning about finance online, like you can do it for free. Online MBAs cost a lot of money, and you can just find everything what you need online for free. So yeah, that would be my decision on the online MBA. What kind of questions, or how should the format be for the emails to the universities I want to apply to? So the questions should be the ones that you couldn't find the answers to on their website, because you don't want to sound like stupid or not prepared. If you ask like question, what is the minimum TOEFL that you need to score in order to get to the university? You cannot ask that in an email. Well, you can, but it would show that you haven't researched the website, because if you research the website, you will find a lot of answers there. And if you're inquiring about financial aid, for example, it's really important to give some background on yourself, because you don't want to receive a generic reply with a link to financial aid section on the university's website. You want to present yourself in the best way, like maybe emphasize what I did. I emphasized the competitions I won, or maybe my GMAT or whatever you have already, and then ask a question. And it should be all really short, like 3-4 sentences maximum. This is like the maximum length of a letter, of an email to a university that it should get to, because these people are so busy. Sometimes, like when I applied to the universities, I thought there's this whole department dealing with the applications, and in reality there are just 3 or 4 people sitting in the small office, and they're getting inquiries like every 30 seconds. So they have to send you generic replies with links to their website. But if you really, ask a personal question and present yourself well, then you can get a personal answer. And that will be my advice. Like, try to connect with them as much as you can. Is it worth pursuing a MS in USA after Trump policies? He hasn't, affected anything in terms of masters or whatever. No, he hasn't. I don't think you should worry about. He hasn't introduced anything that affects international students. Okay. Have you? Yeah, I'm just selecting questions. Just a moment. Are Canadian universities better than US ones for international undergraduates? Really, really depends again. Like, I don't think you can answer just like that. I think you need to have a look at every particular situation. But the benefits of Canada here are cheaper education. And so if you compare with the United States, then, for example, in the States, bachelor's degree would cost like $20,000 a year on average. And in Canada, you can get as low as $10,000 a year in American dollars. The second benefit will be staying in the country after you graduate. So in Canada, normally you would get like up to 3 years of work permit in Canada. In the States, you would only get 1 OPT. But another problem with the problem with Canada, as I said, they're not really generous. American universities are the most generous ones. And if you're a talented student, if you qualify for financial aid, then you have a chance to get your studies funded. Are there any government full financial aid providing scholarships? Yes, there's Fulbright program, from the American part, and programs in your country. I would suggest looking at the Fulbright scholarship. So, yeah, not from China, from Hong Kong. Okay. Yeah, just there's this Lam Chang is asking me for more videos about Russia. So when I travel to Russia next time, I will make a video. I'm not sure if I can get some financial aid. Okay, so TOEFL doesn't really affect your chances on financial aid, except the cases when you need to prove that your TOEFL is above some particular score. So TOEFL is just this something hit or miss thing. For example, if a university says that we only consider students with TOEFL score about 100, then even if you scored 120, it doesn't really affect your chances. It just means that your English is good enough to understand what's going on. And if you score 99 on TOEFL and the minimum TOEFL required by the university is 100, then they wouldn't even consider your application. So make sure that your TOEFL is enough to get into university, and then they just consider other things. So, for example, SAT, yes, you need to score as much as you can, and there is no like minimum SAT to get accepted. Okay, let's see what's happening here. Can somebody apply for masters at the age of 30? Of course. Well, there is no like minimum age requirement. I would say if you're less than 30 years old, if you're applying for a bachelor's degree, then maybe it would be a little like uncomfortable for you to study with students who are 18 or 19. But if you're doing masters, like there are so many master's programs with the average age of 27, 29, 35. So Duke University MBA, for example, has the average age of, I think, 35. And one of my friends who's 35, she was doing this MBA, and she had her best friend, her fellow student, and like in half a year, she asked how old was this friend, and she was like 49, but they got on so well. So TOEFL or IELTS for the USA. You can take both, but there are some universities that do not accept IELTS. IELTS is the British exam, British English, so you will hear British people talking. And there's also another difference between TOEFL and IELTS. In IELTS, you are actually talking to a real person, which makes things a lot easier. In TOEFL, you're just talking to a computer, which is like, sometimes you feel a little intimidated. Okay. Let's jump on to the next question. Love from Russia. Hi, Russia. What should I do this summer to have a better resume? There are so many things. Maybe work experience, if you can, in the field that you're interested in. That would be the best. Maybe taking part in some scientific conference, or maybe taking a language course. It depends. Like if your English is low, then the best you can do is to improve your English. If your English is good enough already and you don't have to work on it, maybe like take part in some conferences or do some work experience. Will you upload this video? Yes, this video will stay on this channel. Can I find cheap masters in the USA, and can I get a job at the same time? So according to the USCIS, students can work in the States on campus up to 20 hours a week. And that's the maximum you can do, and you have to work on campus. So you cannot just go outside. But there's so the standard rule is you work on campus, but you can also apply for CPT. And when you will be getting your visa, you would get the explanation for that. Okay. Is New York better than San Francisco for studying computer science and planning to settle here? It really, really depends. Depends on the university that you're getting accepted to. Like if you're getting accepted to Stanford in San Francisco, compared to some mediocre university in New York, of course, San Francisco is better. And I would also say like computer science, this is the hub, like the Silicon Valley is the hub for computer science. But again, don't think about geography just yet. I always tell my students, like, once you get all of the offers from the university, and when you have this offer from a New York university and San Francisco university, then you will have to decide which offer is better and where you should travel. But when you apply, you just need to select universities based on the program, based on their curriculum, based on the cost of the program. Hi, Marina. Does LinguaTrip help to prepare motivational letters? Yes, we do. There is this service that we have. We actually have a guy, I think he's in his 40s or 50s. He graduated from the University of Pennsylvania. He did his PhD there, and he helps people write personal statements. And he polishes them, and he gives a lot of valuable advice, and you can definitely book this service on LinguaTrip if you go to our main page. Can I study in NYU with full financial government aid scholarship? I don't think government, if you are from the States, then yes, but government aid is, I think it's only for American students, so you need to get financial aid from the university itself. I will be completing my high school in March 2019. When should I start submitting my application for a session of September 2019? That's very good that you're studying as early as you can. So you would need to submit your applications in September 2018. So a year before you start studying. But It also depends on the university. Some universities would ask you to submit your application in September. Some universities would have their first deadline in November. So I would say be ready to start action in autumn 2018. And this means that by autumn 2018, you would need to have passed all of the exams that you need to get into the university, like SAT, GMAT, GRE, I don't know. Oh, so you're finishing high school. So you would need your SAT in September 2018. Are publications more important than GPA? There is no like such thing, what is more important, but if your GPA is really low, then even having like 100 publications, well, if they are in Forbes or really cool magazines, scientific magazines, then they would do. But I would say try to get your GPA as high as possible as well. Does the school ranking matter when applying to the top American universities? Yes, it does. If they recognize the school, then they would definitely prioritize your application, because they would understand whether your GPA from this school, if it was difficult to get that GPA or not. What is the difference between a community college and the university in the States? So community college is where you get your bachelor's degree or your associate degree. And normally people would do their first 2 years in a community college and then transfer to a university. And you cannot do your master's degree in a community college. Social status also, because community college is really easy to get into. So if you're an international student, you just need to pass your TOEFL, or if you're from the States, you don't need anything, you need to just graduate, and they don't even require your SAT, so it's easier to get there. University is harder to get, more kind of prestigious, and it's cheaper to study in a community college. That's why, as I said, many people do first 2 years in a community college first and save on their education, and then they transfer to a more expensive university. Hi from India. Hi. Yeah, I'm trying to read some questions on YouTube, but it keeps reloading. So if you guys have questions and you wrote them on YouTube, please follow a link below this video and ask your question again on LinguaTrip's website, because again, as I said, YouTube keeps reloading and I cannot read anything. That's weird. Does public colleges in USA provide full scholarships to international students? So you mean state, like state universities, state colleges, they are less generous than private. That's the rule of thumb. Sometimes they do, but the rule of thumb is that private universities are more generous. When I have a job offer in the US, is it hard to get a visa? Once you have a job offer, I think your company would hire a lawyer who would take care of the application. So I don't know. I don't think it's difficult if you have a job offer. What is the rule to apply to the community college? There is no rule. I just said it's easier. So you just need your TOEFL and you just need your high school degree, and that's it. Okay, guys, we have 7 more minutes. So I'm taking these last minute questions. And I would really appreciate that if you could ask them on LinguaTrip's website. Just want to say you're doing a great job. Thanks, love from India. Thank you very much. Marina, if I graduate from a Russian university with a bachelor's degree, can I still apply to American university for another bachelor's? Of course, you can do like 5 bachelor degrees, but every time you're applying, you need to prove that it makes sense for you to get a bachelor's from this particular university in the States, because sometimes we see people like, well, we had like the situation a couple of months ago. Somebody has done electrical engineering in Russia or whatever they were for 3 years. Then they had 10 years of work experience, and then they want to do bachelor's in tourism. And like, this doesn't make sense to anyone. Like, why would you do that? So if it doesn't make sense, then you really have to work on your story. Like, what is behind this decision to do a second bachelor's in a different profession. Can you give some tips to get straight A's in a community college? I'm going to transfer to a university after it, and I want to get a scholarship. So, well, attend every lecture. There is a lot of emphasis on self-study. So, read a lot, do all the homework, be active. Also, like, being active is really important, not just sitting in your study room and study. Also be active. If you can get in any like a community where you can lead a charity or start a club. So do something that can also add to your resume. Like I started a club, I volunteered here. So try to form your portfolio right now, as well as concentrating on your grades. Okay. Is SAT always necessary to enter top universities if you're an international student? Oh yeah, and not just SAT general, also SAT subject. If we're talking, for example, getting a bachelor's degree from MIT, you're not only taking SAT general, you're also taking SAT maths and SAT physics. How can... okay. Just trying to figure out the questions, guys. Again, if you have them, please ask them on LinguaTrip, because YouTube is so crowded. Hi, Marina. I was looking for summer school in California. Am I in time? Would you recommend any university college? Summer school, you mean language school? If language school, I would recommend the one that is next door to where I live. It's called ILSC San Francisco. If you go to LinguaTrip and select like English in the United States, you will see it in top. So yeah, I would suggest ILSC San Francisco. We also have like good discounts for it right now. Can you give some tips to get straight A's in community college? Oh, okay, I've read the question. What is your opinion? Is it better to study in Canada or the States? Again, yeah, I've answered this question like 20 minutes ago, and it really depends on your profile. Like, some people don't like Canada, some people don't like United States. And if you're planning to stay in the country after you graduate, then you really need to consider which country you like more. And I would suggest traveling to both countries and really selecting for yourself. In Britain, undergraduate degree from any university is considered. They evaluate it accordingly. But does American universities do that? Yeah, in America, any undergraduate degree is great. So if you have it from your university, or if you have it from a foreign university or American university, it doesn't matter. What matters is that you have this document proving that you have your bachelor's degree from a particular university. Okay, hi from Somalia. Can you comment on Rutgers University? Rutgers University is, well, it's located in, I think it's New Jersey, right? Close to New York. Has really good campus. Yeah, but it really depends on the particular program. By the way, if you're looking for a program, I would suggest going to usnews.com, and they have rankings for like every kind of program. If you're looking for like Masters in Marketing, you type in Google Masters in Marketing, US News, and you will have all of the rankings, and you will find like where Rutgers University ranks according to US News. I got accepted at SCAD, my dream university. Congratulations, that's amazing. But I can't make it if I don't get full financial aid. They don't provide TA scholarships. Well, that's the problem, right? That's what I told, that you should never apply to a university that doesn't provide full financial assistance. And the rule here is to receive an email from them, like answering your questions that yes, they have full financial aid for international students, because this is a situation where you don't want to be like having this offer from a university. So the only thing that is left for you to do right now is maybe, again, write an email to a university, ask about the opportunities that they have to fund your study. Maybe they would give you a loan, which is also a way out. Or Also consider programs that are run by your government from your country. Last minute, what are those red bubbles popping up below the TV in your background? Oh, this is a fake fireplace. Does it look like red bubbles? Is there? Yeah, it's fake fireplace. That's funny. Okay. Cool. I think, guys, we're good for today. Yeah, I am going to continue my moving, continue packing, also grab some lunch. Thank you so much for being with me today. And this is going to be regular. This is going to be every Tuesday, 12 p.m. California time. I'm going to be answering your questions about study abroad. And I will see you next Tuesday. Please don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed the live stream and if my answers were helpful. Thank you so much, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.